It's a great day. My name is Jay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission really is to empower, our mission is to inspire, and our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the hard-working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute. You know what it is, that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Melissa D in the place I like to say to be. And she'll be talking about how you can be known. What? Okay, I got to figure this out and not be invisible. What's going on, Melissa? How you doing?
I'm fantastic, Shay. Thank you so much. And hello to the viewers out there.
Yes, hello to all the viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being part of this. You have a lot of choices and you choose to be with us. So this will be a good use of your time. Before we get started, because we were in the green room or online room, whatever you want to call it, kind of talking about the amount of time we've known each other. I'm curious, in today's world, because they're saying be seen, be known, why are many business owners today struggling to be seen when today they have AI that can help them be seen? They've got social media that can help them be seen. They've got YouTube and all these tools, but yet in the world we live in today, why are folks struggling to be seen and known?
Well, the #1 thing that it comes down to, Shay, is not understanding the client attraction ecosystem. All right. A lot of times, most entrepreneurs think of sales as a one-time thing, or they don't understand the process of sales that, as we all know, right, that you might have to contact a person 16 times, 16 different times in 16 different ways. Right. And a lot of entrepreneurs don't even have that capacity, much know really that principle of the client attraction ecosystem. Okay. And when I say ecosystem, I mean, it might be different ways. For example, it may be #1, you might use a digital, you might use an in-person, right? You might use digital, in-person referrals, right? It's a client, it's an ecosystem. It's not just a one-hit thing. So when people really get that, oh, it's an ecosystem, it's even an ecosystem, right? For all our service-based providers that have to get payments, all the time. It's even an ecosystem to keep top of mind with your current clients, right? And so when entrepreneurs understand that, they market differently. They sell differently. They understand their business differently. They look at their revenue differently and how they plan and budget.
I love it. And what do you say to the entrepreneurs listening? That was a very thorough answer that says, okay, Shay, but I'm a little nervous at getting in front of the camera. Now, we're going to get into other things, by the way, how to be known in your business and different things you can do. But for the person that's watching now that says, for me, being the face of the business or getting in front of the business, I'm a little fearful of that. Well, what's 1, 2, or 3 things you would suggest to them? And don't worry, for those folks that are watching the line, who is Melissa Shay? I haven't Googled her. I don't know who she is. She's going to get to her backstory in a moment, okay? She'll get into her journey or how she got to where she is now. But first, how does someone get over fear?
Okay, thank you so much, Shay. So if you are afraid of getting on the camera, or you don't want to be the face of your business, the first thing I want to tell you is it's okay. It's okay, right? Not everybody is a camera person. But what I will tell you is you want to make sure you have someone who is the face of your business. Because the fact is, nowadays in 2026, where everybody is so accessible and people really care, okay? People care about who the CEO of a company is, right? That you need to have someone or something. Even Progressive has Flow, right? Progressive has Flow. Subway used to have Jared. You have to have someone if it's not you.
I like that. And let me ask a question. How does one, and then we'll get to her backstory. For the person that's listening, says, look, Shay, is it possible that my messaging could change over time? Like I start one place and my messaging change. If I'm going to be known, when does Melissa see or knows that there's a shift in maybe her message or in someone else's message, and it's time for them to make a change so they can be seen or known differently than where they started. So the overall question is, I started here, maybe helping people build cars, and now my message changed. I'm now helping them, I don't know, build tires for their cars.
Listen, I want to let you know, Shay and the rest of y'all watching, that Melissa D. Hall is queen of the pivot. Okay? I am queen of the pivot. And that's okay. So I want to first like give you that permission, like, hey, sometimes the messaging changes, right? Even in my business, I could say now with the commercials that I'm running now for my business, they started off saying one thing. It didn't work quite as well as it had in the past. And so I had to update my messaging, right? And sometimes you have to update your messaging. Sometimes your business evolves, sometimes you evolve as well. And all I have to say is you got to move with it. You just have to move with it, and it's okay. And guess what? Instead of also thinking about it, Shay, this is just something I really had to accept, right? Because I think what kind of happens for people is so ingrained in us to think one thing. We have to only do one thing. We only have to do one business, be really good at this business, and then maybe you could do something else, or you have this business and you're stuck in it, right? But a lot of us are multi hyphenate entrepreneurs, multi hyphenate people. And when I say that, that means that, okay, you might start off with cars, okay, or like you said, selling tires, and then it evolves until you have a whole uh, car lot. You don't have to stop selling tires, okay? You have a tire shop now, and you also have a car lot. You're also selling cars, and that's okay to be multi hyphenated, to have more than one business. That's okay. Nothing's wrong with you. You don't have to change. You just grew.
You don't change, you just grow. I like that, by the way. It's okay because you can grow with your audience or grow into a new audience. That does happen. You know, someone right now is watching saying, I love what Melissa is saying. Sounds good. They're in the kitchen, maybe cooking dinner, but they don't know you. Believe it or not, as famous as you are all over the world, by the way. Someone else is saying, Shay, I'm driving in the car right now. I didn't read her bio. Got it. Others, you've already Googled her. So we'll slow down for a moment. And if you would, please take a moment and tell me a little bit about, the question, what's your backstory, Melissa? And then what was that defining moment that led you on this path that you're on now, helping other folks be known, be seen, be heard?
Absolutely. So, again, I'm Melissa D. Hall. I go by Melissa D. Hall, not Melissa Hall. And I have really made my name in the insurance industry, helping seniors with life insurance, and then it evolved into Medicare. I've been doing this since 2008, started at 21 years old, okay? Commission based sales. So that tells you how old I am, all right, if you're curious. And I started off at college. I made a ton of money. I went to Towson State University, and I made so much money within the first 90 days selling insurance. I was living next to Joe Flacco and Ed Reed. Okay, this is a 21-year-old. So I dropped out of college. As you can imagine, I was making too much money, right? And I just built my reputation in the insurance sales industry. I actually got started on YouTube really early. I got started on YouTube probably back in like 2012. All right. And just coaching other insurance agents about what I was going through, how to sell insurance. From there, I transitioned down to North Carolina, and I got into the Medicare sales. And now I did take a short break to go back to school, achieve my degree, but and I also had to get a job at that time. And while I had this job, I used to work at a bank, and I was saying to myself, because I was seeing people make deposits and stuff, I said, if I ever get a chance to do insurance again, I was going to do it right. So, right before I graduated from college, I ended up, y'all, getting fired from this bank. Okay. And it was one of the best things that happened to me because it was my plan all along, not to get fired, but I definitely knew that I wanted to try it again with insurance once I got my degree. So, ended up restarting my agency. And within the first, I will say, maybe 6 months, I reached six figures. And that's significant because when I first started off in insurance back in 2008, I made $65,000. That's the most I ever made. And a lot of that even went to leads. Okay. So to make six figures in 6 months, it was amazing. I was like, wow, this is real. And I will say this, I was known at that time in the industry just from posting on like YouTube and Instagram. But how I got really known is through COVID. Am I allowed to tell y'all what happened during COVID? Can I tell you what happened during COVID, Shay?
Yes, please tell us.
Okay, COVID changed my life, y'all. Okay, this is, I know you have a question about what was my January 1st. That was my January 1st. So during COVID, again, insurance is something that is usually door to door. Okay. And right before COVID happened, I hired my first salaried insurance agent. And this agent started on the day that we were no longer allowed to go outside and see customers face to face. So imagine I have this person, I'm paying $30,000 a year, and we have no idea how we're going to sell people because all we knew was the field. So on that day, I remember coming into my office and I asked my staff, I said, listen, do you all want to just go home, collect unemployment, or do you all want to continue to work? And they said they wanted to continue to work. I was like, oh God, I have to figure this out. And so, I said, well, I have to figure out how can we get people to call us without going to see them. And so it came to me to start doing television commercials. And so I made up the moniker Medicare Mail, which I have trademarked, and I started doing television commercials in the Raleigh Durham area, the Triangle area. And it blew up. I mean, I had hundreds of calls coming. My phone rang so much during that time that the caller ID shut down. Okay. Like, and nobody else were doing commercials, especially at the level how I was doing it, really putting a face. Okay. Because in the Medicare market, what I do, you really don't see per se a face. You just see a bunch of seniors, but I was the face. Okay. I became a household name, Medicare Mel, Melissa D. Hall. And from there, my business flourished. I went from having one agent to 13. I had a big time call center in Raleigh, and I actually sold the majority of the business. I was able to sell it back in, I think, 2023. Okay. So I've been on stages as far as like TEDx, Black Enterprise, World News. It goes on, conferences. I've been flown everywhere to teach people how to sell, all the things, right? So I do think I'm a little bit qualified to teach you how to become a household name.
Very qualified. And as you was talking about your January 1st moment, congratulations to you. The question comes up,
Thank you.
how are you able to move forward in the face of fear? Because some people feel like, okay, I've got to have the confidence to take action. But yet you had the mindset and the belief system to move forward, even when it wasn't, no one knew what was going to happen when the folks decided to work with you and not do unemployment. No one knew you were going to be where you were, but yet you took the step. So I guess the question is, how are you able to move forward in the face of uncertainty? Somebody watching right now might be facing uncertainty, or in front of the unknown. How are you able to do that? Two questions. How are you able to do it? And what's your mindset? What's your belief system?
Sure. You just have to do it scared. That's it. Just do it scared. You'll never feel quote unquote all the way ready. Know that how things start, they might change, you know? And last thing, you have to get comfortable with people seeing you doing. Okay. A lot of times it's not necessarily, oh, the fear of quote unquote failing. It's the fear of other people seeing you fail. It's the fear of other people seeing you start this business and then it fizzles off and you don't, carry it out. But you got to let go of that because what you start off with might not be what you end with, but it will be a stepping stone to get you to where you're supposed to be. And it doesn't matter who sees it. I'll say this, Shay, and I'm sure you can empathize with this, Shay. Back in 2008, back in 2012, especially being from the DMV, all my DMV people, y'all know, being an entrepreneur was not looked good upon. It was kind of frowned upon. It was like, what are you doing? It was all about that government job. Am I right, Shay?
You're absolutely correct.
Yes. It was not about being a quote unquote entrepreneur, right? Even those people who were entrepreneurs, they had a government job in the morning, and in the evening, they had their little business, right? And so I say that to say it wasn't popular. People were like, oh, they really think you was unemployed. It's always your little business, right? But look at me now, okay? They want to be like me. They're inspired, right? And so at some point, you got to understand that you're going to be a trendsetter, okay? Ain't that right, Shay?
Absolutely 100% correct.
Yeah, you might be a trendsetter. You're going to be a trendsetter. And sometimes it might not work out as much as you think or how you think, but it's okay because it's somebody there who's watching who's going to follow your lead, right? So it's okay. Be careful. Be okay being a trendsetter.
And you talk about being a trendsetter, you talk about doing things differently. What about taking care of your health and folks that may feel a bit overwhelmed? There are a number of folks here who are dualpreneurs. They work a full-time job. They're full-time entrepreneurs. There's other folks who are entrepreneurs who have to take care of their significant other or their spouse or their friend. Some people are caregivers like myself. Others have children and their children have schedules. So they might be wondering, wow, how is Melissa D able to do all of this without feeling overwhelmed and still take care of her health and her mindset? So for the person feeling overwhelmed, how do you deal with stress and how do you deal with overwhelm?
Stress, overwhelm, you know, is part of the territory of being an entrepreneur because being an entrepreneur is stressful. You have your livelihood that depends on what you do, all right, and sometimes others. And unfortunately, that's part of it. But I will tell you something that has worked for me as a person, y'all. I was 50 pounds heavier, okay, and I'm very vocal about my weight loss journey. I lost 50 pounds, and
Congratulations. 50 pounds is nothing to sneeze at. So congratulations to her, ladies and gentlemen. Give her a hand. Does she not look good or what? 50 pounds lighter. What?
okay, okay, yes, and I was a full time entrepreneur losing it, and I'm gonna say this, and actually that leads me to my organization that I started, but you know, your health is your wealth for real. And nobody's going to care about you unless, as much as you care about you. For those of you all who are caregivers, do you all know that many caregivers die before the person they're caregiving for?
Wow. I
Did
didn't
you?
know
Are you
that.
aware of that, Shay?
No.
Yes, many caregivers die before the person they are caregiving for. Yeah. So, with that said, for those of you all who are caregivers, just remember that person's going to be okay that you're caregiving for. Okay, God forbid you caring for a person that got Alzheimer's or kidney issues. I hate and I mean this with all sincerity. They have services to help them. Okay, but what about you? You only have one life, one body. Your life matters too, and you gotta find a way to make time for you. I know you're exhausted, but even if it's waking up an hour early, even if it's having a routine, okay? I was talking to my cousin about depression and being down and stuff. He was like, well, and this guy, he went through a hard time. He lost his mom, going through divorce, all types of things, right? And he just seemed like in a great mood, in the best shape ever, all this stuff. And I'm like, how are you not depressed? And he said, because I have a routine. And yeah, right? Yes. And I really took heat to that. And so I say that for you all who are dealing with stress, who are dealing with folks. A lot of times you just wake up and you're just, boom, here I am. Isn't that right? Here I am, world. Let's see what happens today. Leaving you in a very reactionary pattern. So I say this, you need to have a routine. And when I say a routine, I'm talking about a routine for you, not everybody else in your house. For example, for myself, my routine is I love to work out at 6 a.m., right? That's my little thing. I love to get my coffee. I love to make my breakfast for myself. I read my devotional. and I might listen to something encouraging. That might take 2.5, 3 hours. But if I do that, I have controlled my day. So that kind of helps with stress. So number one, I would say try to find a routine. Okay. Whatever it is, something just for you, even if you wake up an hour earlier. And can I say this one last thing, Shay?
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay. Just understand, and I call this the triangle of sacrifice. Okay. To be an entrepreneur, you're going to either have to sacrifice time, money, or sleep. You're going to have to sacrifice one of those things. And when you don't sacrifice or try to hold onto all of them, right? Like you don't want to sacrifice money by getting extra help. Okay. And you know that you have a lot on your plate already. So you're still waking up at the same time every day. So you're not creating more time for yourself. Okay. But you have to get these things done. So you're not investing money and getting it done. You're not doing more, you're not, getting up earlier, and you're still sleeping the same schedule. One of these things have to go. And you got to figure out what that is, because that's just the game.
That's just today, and that's just where we are right now. Game-changing advice to help every single one of you out there. One of my favorite questions to ask, and we have a few minutes now as you was talking, is what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given, right? And I always like to share with the audience that you've read so many books. You probably can't remember them all. You watch more videos. I'm sure you don't count the hours anymore. If you're like me, 10,000 hours is a joke. You can do that scrolling on the weekend, by the way. But if you had to step back with all the mentors you had and said, here's one of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given, Shay, that I want to pass to the audience, what is it and why?
Now, Shay, this question wasn't on the list, Shay.
Good. Hopefully a lot of questions weren't on the list.
I would just say the best piece of advice. I will say this one, because this one really changed the game for me. It's actually from my mother. And as entrepreneurs, we can control our schedules, right? And again, you have to be okay with people seeing you doing. And for a lot of you all, your VPs of your business are your parents or your spouse, significant other, maybe even your kids, right? They're your vicarious vice presidents, because they see you and you probably talk to them about business. And so one day I asked my mom, I said, Mom, why does my income go up and down? And she said, it's because you're inconsistent. You're inconsistent. That's what she told me. And I really took that to heart. And when I think that was part of the conversation. As a matter of fact, it was. I remember having this conversation on the way when I was driving away from the bank, and that changed my life when she told me that, because I really had to take inventory about how I was using my time and how often I was selling versus getting distracted and doing other things. And so when she told me that consistency was my problem, I started being more consistent and I hit 6 figures. And anytime I have an issue with income, I just go back to how much work am I putting in, and am I doing it daily?
Shout out to mother, by the way. Perfect advice that we all can benefit from sure. When you're not out saving the world, making a difference for others, helping people be seen and known and found, what do you do for fun these days? What does that look like for you?
For fun, me, I love to go out. I do. I love to dance. I love fine dining. I love oysters. If you're having raw oysters, invite me. Okay. I do. I love raw oysters.
You're
Being
good.
from Maryland, all we know is the crabs.
Yeah.
But I got into raw oysters recently, and they are amazing. Each one is a treat. Each one has a little surprise, a little different taste. So I love that. I love to paint. So and be kind of crafty. So if you have any of those things going on, invite me. I'll come.
Fantastic. As we come down the home stretch, a 2-part question. Number one, for folks that want to connect with you, stay in this conversation over and beyond today, where should they go? Where should they go? How can they find you? And the second question is, what type of clients are you looking to work with these days, if any? I'm not sure if your firm's taking on the additional clients.
Sure. So, if you want to stay connected with me, you can go ahead and sign up for my email list at melissadhall.com. Uh, and you could do / resources. And I have, it's called the Executive Board Newsletter. You can go to melissadhall.com and sign up for there, and I send out emails. Um, as far as looking to work with, if you're 65 and older and need help with Medicare, your parent, yourself, go ahead, send me an inquiry. I can help you. Also, I am launching my women's empowerment movement. It's called Her All Along. Okay. And I actually just came out with a single, a new song. So you can go ahead and look that up on iTunes. All right. And my organization is all of Her All Along. Our mission is to help women who have made themselves invisible to keep life moving. So if you have went like my caretakers, people of that sort, and kind of suppressed your own feelings so you can go along and get along and you're drowning, call me because I want to help you. And you could just reach out to me on my website.
Thank you. Let me say one thing. Thanks so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. I appreciate it. Great advice. Can't wait to have you back again soon.
Thank you, Shay.
And thank you. Thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in, by the way, because, well, without you, we don't have a show. So I never get tired of reminding you every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, no matter what's going on in your life, whether you're doing really, really well and there's a whole nother level of success you're going to, or you've been hit with the punch that you never saw coming. The one thing I do believe is that today is your January 1st. And because of just that one reason alone, I believe your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. With that being said, my name is Shay Brown. I'm out. Peace. Thanks a lot, Melissa D. In the place to be.